Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Good evening, anyone and everyone. Um, I'm not certain of my mail server, but I just wanted to kind of go over the draft Get Back on the Hill plan, and this is again a draft, and just wanted to go over the Microsoft project uh, software that's used, that could be used to actually plan out some of the objectives and tasks that we have in our plan. So if you notice, let me see if I can make both screens visible for you. Let's see. I'm going to share both screens. Hope you guys can see this. I'm going to share both screens. So, okay, there it is right now. So right now, if you're looking at this, you should be able to see the first screen of the cursor moving. This is basically the textual information for the primary milestones that we have to do. And as you can see, there's one called the 6 month before moving day, 2 months before moving day, 1 month before moving day, 1 day to 3 weeks before the moving day, the moving day, and post moving day. And on screen number 2, I'm going to switch to that right quick. You should be able to see these deflection bars and see where the cursor's at. So these actually constitute, I'm going to try both screens at the same time and see if you can see this part. Get both screens up. Okay, there it is. So if you notice, when I click on this top bar, in the left-hand side screen, the draft Get Back on the Hill module is darkened out. And as I go down each one, you'll see them kind of highlighted in black, so that basically these lines are constituting to the milestones that are being presented on the left screen. And the deflection from here all the way out is basically the duration of time. So this particular one, we have 163 days from the mid part of February to actually complete the project. And this was just basically some random dates were put on, and I just wanted to actually show that. So once we really do this project, we'll probably have some more actual dates that are going to be depicted here on this screen. So as I go here and see how that actually blows up to one particular line. So if I go here and I say 6 months out, we have, let's see, make sure this is, there it is. So I had to get the little icon out of the way. Sorry about that. We have 1 through 26, or 3 to 26 line items to actually go through. So these can definitely be changed based on some of the actions that we have. So looking at the first one, we say review the inventory list, and I'll send this out to everyone again. But these line items can be changed, can be renamed, but this is just basically a shell of a project. If you notice here, the biggest thing is the resources. So we just have chief of staff, that would be Troy, office manager, that would be Corolla, and so on and so forth. So these are just more or less placeholders. We can actually put the names of the resources that would have to kind of oversee these various line items and tasks. So that's why this is here. The way resources are changed, this is the another deflection of it. So as you can see, we have all the resources in one. So I would imagine that all the ministries are definitely going to be involved in this. So this is why we're having like this one generalized particular schedule that's out. So I think these milestones right here are some of the things that we probably should start working on now, just based on the amount of work that we have in store for us. So again, I'll send this out, and everybody will kind of get a quick overview. Didn't want to spend too much time on that. The second group of milestones, again, I'm just basically clicking on the star, and this is more or less a quick and dirty view of how Microsoft Project works. So some of the larger, one of the things we're going to do in the trustee board, once we get various projects, we're going to try to maintain them using Microsoft Project. This kind of keeps all of our information in one area. If you notice to the right, this little icon right here, that's an actual notation, and we can actually add various bits of documentation to these particular links right here. So I can double click that. You'll see general information. You'll see the name of the task, the predecessors, which we don't have anywhere with this one particular one, the resources that are going to be used. We have an advanced tab. And this tab, notes, is where we can actually write notes. So this particular one, determine supply needs. We put a note in here that is of extreme importance. And also we have a custom field that we can modify and change. This particular version of Microsoft is Microsoft 2003. So I do have some free copies if anyone wants to use it. Right now, the latest version is 2016. It has a lot of bells and whistles, but I'm thinking the 2003, since I already had it, would be adequate enough for us to use it to get back on the hill, or any other projects that the trustee board or anyone else wants to use. I can get you a free copy of this. We'll go ahead and click that icon and open the 2 months up so you can see some of the line items that are there. If you notice, there's a lot of installs, cable system. We're actually in the process of trying to get this done as we speak. So it's about the mid-March, and we are having various discussions of how the network infrastructure is going to be installed in the church as a whole, and also inside of the sanctuary. So we're going through those discussions sometime later on in the coming weeks. So again, basically, I'll send this out to everyone so you can get a quick dirty to see some of the milestones. I would definitely need all of the inputs and information from definitely the church council and all the ministries to see if we need to add more line items to this. It's very easy to add a line item. We just simply highlight a line item, and we can say new task or delete task, copy task, cut task. So this is how this information is actually inputted in. So it's very simple to manipulate the software. So we're moving down, and we have another large milestone called 1 month before move-in. So this is when a lot of things should be already done, but it's like send change of address to all vendors. That's probably something that's going to be taken off, but we again have to add more logical information to that. But I will need to get the inputs from all the ministries to see what we would have to do 1 month before move-in day. And then the next tab, as I click on it, the actual move-in date. I think this is going to be a very important area, because this is where a lot of our muscle power and personnel is going to come from a volunteer perspective. So, there's been a couple of just what I call scuttlebutt discussions as far as having like a green team, a red team, a yellow team, a purple team, some of the colors that make up our emblem on our website. And those various teams will be having various tasks. Some will be pulling the information off from the moving trucks, other will be staging the information, other will be inventorying the information, and then final preparations as far as what we have to do. I would imagine that this move-in date or days would probably be on the weekend, but it's definitely going to be at a volunteer basis. But again, based on the amount of materials that we may have in storage. This is going to be a very important thing that we probably need to discuss immediately. Um, that would make, I think this would make things a lot easier as far as the planning and things that we have to do from this point forward. Um, the actual move-in date, this is where we have to have, again, the muscle power to mark all of the rooms and offices that we have, and then the various ministries would be responsible for the finite and the critical movement as far as what offices they're going to be assigned to, where they're going to put their equipment, how they're going to store it. I don't know at this particular point who was going to make those selection processes as far as where different ministries are going to be worked out, but that's where we have to review some of the blueprints and drawings that we currently have and make selections on paper first, and then probably there'll probably be a series of discussions of which group would get which rooms and kind of go from there. And then finally, the last section is the post move in. This is to see what items are that have possibly been damaged during the move-in process. Of course, the ribbon cutting event. One of the key items that we're looking for is from the trustee board's perspective is a fire drill. So with the magnitude of our building and the newness of it, we're going to be taking a lot of equipment through what's called a shakedown, basically cutting the heating systems on, cutting the air conditioning systems on, and various things like that. So normally when you have a new building, things do kind of go break or pop in the night, and hopefully that won't happen, but we have to be prepared for it. So we have to be able to possibly evacuate people out of the building if any of our air handlers or some of our supporting electrical equipment goes bump in the night. So we have to have these plans in place before we even move in the building, and of course it has to be vetted by fire and safety officials and the marshals and things like that. So those are some of the things that we are in the process of actually working on from the trustee board's perspective. But this, again, I'll send this out. Please take a look at all of the line items, and I'll send this out in two forms. One form will be Microsoft, three forms actually. One form will be a PDF file, one form will be Excel, and then of course Microsoft Project. And that way we can really sit down as a large group and kind of go through some of the line items, line item by line item. And again, the main thing is the resources of who or which group are going to be responsible for what, and then putting actually names to these team names, because this is going to be an all hands on deck evolution, I would imagine. So this is the draft Get Back on the Hill plan. Again, this is draft, meaning that none of these items may even work for us, but this is more or less a start. So I'm going to close these back up so you can see the large line items, and we have again 102 tasks that we would have to complete. But as we get further and further into the planning of this, I would imagine that some line items could go away, some line items could be added. It all depends upon the amount of input that we get from the other ministries. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to contact me or members of the trustee board, and of course our fearless leader Troy. And we're going to have a series of discussions with a smaller group, a smaller subcommittee, to go over some of the actual line items as far as the draft. It's Wayne RT signing off. Hope you enjoyed this recording, and I'll send this out via YouTube. Have a great one. Bye.